So I'm standing here today in a rather slightly overcast Congleton Park, but it's the great celebration. It's the end of the weekend of celebrations. I've got with me one of the groups that is very well known for making a big difference in Congleton, and that is Congleton Rotary. I've got David Brew with me. Now, one of the King's initiatives is to have a day when people will volunteer. I want to know a bit more about this, and I'm sure that Rotary are one of the organisations that stands to make a huge difference from having people come forward and offer to help them in their work. David, lovely to see you here.
How do you do?
Rotary, we all know that they're an organisation that really does make a difference. Let's shout about it a little bit.
Well, I joined Rotary last year, and the Rotary is local to Congleton, and it's we do things in Congleton itself. It's also district-wise, so it's in the whole area, like the northwest, and it's also international. So it's an organisation that's all around the world with thousands of clubs and countries participating.
In my junior life, I did a little bit with Round Table. Round Table's not the same as Rotary, is it?
No, that was for younger people, I think, Round Table. But Rotary do a lot. Internationally, stopped polio. We've inoculated millions of children around the world to prevent polio.
And you do that, obviously, by a large number of fundraising activities, but it's not just fundraising, is it?
No, it's about having fun, and that's one of the reasons I joined. So we've joined, and this year we've just started a new environmental team with the local Congleton Rotary Club. One of them is what we're doing today. We're getting signatures for the pledge, and the idea is to get as many people in Congleton signing for the pledge, so we become the most environmental friendly town in the country.
I was going to say, I've got to be quite clear about this. The pledge that I know about is the one that said you give up drinking. It doesn't mean to say that Rotary is going to give up drinking.
No, basically we're trying to educate people to take the environmental issues seriously with ideas like use single plastic, save electricity, save on your water, walk more, exercise more, and become more environmental as a person. You can only do what you can do, and if every individual does some of the things on the pledge, then the world will become a better place.
This again is very much the theme of Congleton Radio, that we're really interested to talk to those people that want to make a difference. Yeah. Congleton is a wonderful place to live. The park itself is the most fantastic asset that we have.
Well, in the park today we've planted 2 trees to mark the Coronation of King Charles III. So there's 2 new cherry trees that are in the flower beds. And we're also in the park, we're building bird boxes and bird feeders for the woods, because the woods behind you are some of the most ancient woodlands in Congleton.
I wonder how many people realise that. So when were they first planted?
Well, to become ancient woodland, it needs to be consistent woodland since 1600. So if it's mentioned in the history books as being here since 1600, it's ancient woodland. But I think off the top of my head, there's only 4% of ancient woodland left in the British Isles.
We have lots of major challenges with the environment, don't we? The loss of woodland is one of them.
Yeah.
The management of woodland, obviously the loss of habitats.
Yes.
Certain bird species that have declined alarmingly because of their loss of habitat.
Yeah, I think 45% of birds have disappeared. Millions and millions of birds have disappeared in recent years with the advent of plastics in the last 30 years. And that's why we're doing initiatives with the bird boxes and feeders in the park, and why we're planting trees, and we're liaising with other voluntary groups like Trees for Congleton, who do an awful good job planting hedges and trees in the area. They're responsible for planting thousands of trees and hedges in the local community.
And obviously in this initiative we're working with Patti Pinto and her friends, who do a tremendous amount of work. I'm going to speak to Patti later for the programme to hear again of the amazing things that she does, not just by herself, but the people that she gets involved with throughout Congleton. So this is a really great initiative. I think it's right up my street.
Yeah. While we're on about Patti, she's responsible for organising the bee garden in the park here, which was established last year, and there are tens of plants there that are all bee friendly. And if people in their own homes can make a difference by planting bee friendly flowers and planting the odd tree or something or a hedge, that would help the biodiversity of the local area.
Seems to be an obvious question, but why are bees so important?
Well, bees are pollinators, so without bees the human race wouldn't be here. And bee populations have taken a big dive recently.
That wasn't a pun, was it? They wouldn't be here.
No. So a lot of pesticides kill the bees, and this is why initiatives like No Mow May and looking after wildflowers and letting some part of your garden grow wild, so it encourages bees to come and take nectar without getting poisoned by pesticides.
Yes, I know there is an initiative in Congleton at the moment that a lot of the routine roadside spraying shouldn't be done using chemicals which will be damaging to bees.
That's right. So the less pesticides we use and the more flowers we grow and look after the environment immediately near to your house or your local area, the better for the bees and the swallows and the birds and all of nature.
And us, of course, yeah. So we should all be rightly concerned about the environment. We should also be rightly concerned about the future of Rotary, shouldn't we? That you look like a relatively young member of Rotary compared with some. Just say a little bit about Rotary and what people might wish to put into it as well as what they get out of it.
Congleton Rotary Club is one of the best Rotary clubs in the Northwest. It's had more members, it's getting more diverse, more and more people are getting interested in joining Rotary, and they have been doing. And you can do as much as you want once joining. You can do something that's interesting to you, whether it's in the environment or whether it's organising or helping out in the community in some capacity.
But the classic thing, as ever, is that the more you put into it, the more you get out of it.
That's right. Well, it's anything you do, the more you put into it, more enjoyment you get, the more fun you get, and you spread the word, just as we are doing with environmental matters.
So that's one of the pledge issues. The King has initiated this request that volunteers should come forward and make a difference, and Rotary is one of the ways in which you can make a difference.
Yes, and while we're on about King Charles, for tens of decades now he's been helping out in the environment and bringing environmental issues to the fore, and his son Prince William is going to continue that, and hopefully the British Isles will get more environmental friendly.
All in all, it's going to be the re-greening of England, I think you might say, isn't it?
Well, yes. A lot of the area, especially Cheshire, was covered for centuries in forests, and since the Industrial Revolution a lot of that's been cleared for housing. And the more we do to create woods and trees and hedges and plants, the better it is for the biodiversity of the county and Congleton.
Well, it's been lovely to talk to you today, and thank you for all the work you're doing, because it's lovely to see you here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I wish you every success in this particular thing, which will make such a difference to Congleton. Yeah.
So when you get the chance, everybody, just sign the pledge. There is a facility to sign the pledge on the website, or if we're at one of these events like we are today, you can approach one of the members.
We're not going to give you a complicated address. You have to remember, just search for Rotary Congleton and you're going to come up very high on the list, aren't you?
Yes.
And there they'll find the pledge. Do support these guys, because they work so very, very hard for this community. They're not always noticed, except when they're rattling a bucket of some kind under you, but believe me, what they're doing makes a tremendous difference. So thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we've just been hearing about Rotary and their pledge, which is encouraging people to volunteer to make a difference which will contribute to the environment. Another group that's really done some fantastic work are the Friends of Congleton Park. I'm joined now by Glen and Chris just by the bee garden. I'm sure on a warmer day, within a month or so, it will be absolutely full of flying insects and pollinators. Glen, do tell us a little bit about the work that you do, and in particular the differences that you are making to this wonderful Congleton Park.
Thank you for the opportunity. So Friends of Congleton Park was set up around 2005 when the park was restored following Heritage Lottery Fund. And the park is a fantastic asset for the town and attracts thousands of visitors every year. And we're here today to celebrate the King's Coronation. This is an event that Friends of Congleton Park have been working jointly with Congleton Town Council and Congleton Rotary, and it's absolutely fantastic to see lots of people here enjoying the space. The Friends group are exactly that. We enable events and different activities and different features within the park to happen because local authorities on their own are unable to make a lot of these things happen. So a strong Friends of a Park group such as we have in Congleton, and we have about 12-13 committee members and a team of volunteers, and we work with a whole range of organisations and individuals in partnership to ensure that our multi-award winning park remains a fantastic asset and continues to attract lots of people.
Your primary interest is in the park here, but you've mentioned that actually we've got lots of people within Congleton who make a big difference. Congleton in Bloom is a big event in the year, and we've been very successful in that in past years.
Well, Congleton in Bloom has been going for 25 years, and for a town this size, we punch well above our weight. And whether in the regional finals or the national finals, when we bring the RHS judges to show them all the fantastic features around Congleton, we always end up in Congleton Park as our grand finale because it's such a wonderful asset. Fantastic gardeners, fantastic staff who work for the streetscape team at the town council, who work very closely with the Friends groups and our team of volunteers.
So we have so many great volunteers that are making a difference there. I was just wondering, you kind of scotched a rumour there that you never take the RHS judges to the Beartown Brewery first before they do their judging. So, a wonderful organisation, 13 people who between them make that difference to our park, and the park itself then makes a difference for Congleton because many people come to the park. The sort of cafe bar is now flourishing and doing really good business in the summer. People enjoy sitting out there and relaxing. I've got another helper here, and I'm just going to ask him what his part of the work of the team is, what he gets out of it, why he volunteered for it. Yeah, I mean what he gets out of it apart from backache.
Oh, seeing people having fun. Mainly. I mean, Glenn said most of it, but I get involved with like the supplying the electrics and stuff, helping with other events.
A Sparky?
No.
An amateur Sparky, even more dangerous.
Yeah, dangerous, yeah.
But he knows what he's doing, believe me.
Yeah, I actually qualified as electrical design engineer, so it's safe.
Yeah, so I know a little bit. I know which side to connect the positive to, which side to connect the negative to.
Right.
So what inspires people to join your group, and what can you say to encourage more to do it?
Well, look at this.
Look at the green.
Look at the people down here, and we also put events on with brass bands and stuff ourselves, haven't we, Glenn?
Yeah, I've discovered how great the place is.
We're trying to encourage people to use the park.
Community. If somebody wants to come and make a contribution to the work that you're doing, who would they contact? How would they actually volunteer?
Contact Glen.
Contact Glen?
Yeah. So
how do they find you?
Well, we have a website and a Facebook page, so people can get in touch with us that way. Or we're well known within the council as well, so if they want to pop into the Tourist Information Centre, that they've got our contact details. We're just actually looking at putting a volunteer pack and programme together. So, ordinarily people do want to come and contribute of making Congleton Park even better than it is, and there's lots of different ways that people can engage with that. But we've been looking at, people want to give us and Congleton Park something, but we need to look at how can we attract new volunteers, retain them, and make sure that their volunteering in the park is a really positive experience. It is already, but we want to ensure that we capture more people and bring more people to either help out in the gardening side, help out with events, just general tidying and maintenance, a whole range of things. So we're just, like I say, various members are currently looking at that, and we'll be launching that in the next few weeks' time. So look out for some press releases and Facebook posts, and get in touch.
It reminds me that it's not always just about giving money. You do need money, but in fact, people that have got spare time, people who have got energy, people who maybe will benefit from actually doing gardening work and planting out. There are many ways in which people can make a contribution.
Absolutely. There are people who donate on a regular basis to us, and those funds are vital. Partly to ensure that our annual running costs, which are small, but we do have an annual cost for insurance and other sort of expense, and some of that money will either go and invested in events such as today, or to put a new piece of equipment in, or a new tree, or those sort of things. So we're not going to say don't give us money, because finance is important, particularly as all local authorities are feeling the pinch a bit at the moment. But actually, for me, the actual volunteering contribution is probably worth more to us, because they can physically see a difference that they are making. And equally so, getting outside in a fantastic space such as Congleton Park is brilliant for everyone's health and well-being.
It's therapeutic. I mean, some doctors now are actually prescribing this, aren't they?
Very much
as
so.
an alternative to drugs, thank goodness. Because, do you know what? It doesn't actually cost any money to volunteer, other than you might need a decent, strong pair of gloves, but that would be about it, wouldn't it?
It would.
But the benefit to people themselves, whether they need company, whether they are simply enjoying being outside in the fresh air, is huge. It's substantial. It makes for happy people.
Absolutely. And Chris has been involved with the Friends group for many years, and as have I, and many other committee members have put a significant shift in to make a difference. And sometimes it's hard work, sometimes it can be frustrating, but actually most of the time it's really beneficial, it's really enjoyable. We do it because we love it, and we have fun ourselves, because if it wasn't fun we wouldn't do it.
So if you ever wanted good reasons for offering, you've just heard them. Thank you very much. I'm going to go and find her. I don't have to go and find her. She's here. We've mentioned her earlier. This is Patti, who has quite a name for herself as, let's call her a busy lady. But
A busy bee.
a busy bee. Patti.
Hi.
Lovely to see you here today. I got the tip off you were going to be here, so I thought I'd come down and have a chat. You do, along with your helpers, so much to contribute. She rolls her eyes there modestly, but she is, for all her busyness, a most modest lady as well. But she and her volunteers have made a colossal difference to the park, in particular with one particular project with the bee garden.
That's right.
Would you like to tell us, Patti, a little bit about how that came about, why, who thought it up,
Okay.
the sort of work you've had to do, and the sort of reaction you're getting to it?
Well, okay. So back in 2021, a Congleton High School student named Annabelle entered a national competition to design what would be a nice bee garden. And she drew something on an A4 sheet and sent it in. And there were thousands of entries, and hers was in the top 20. Now, she didn't win, so the one who was chosen as the winner was actually Adam Frost built the garden in a children's hospice up in Doncaster. And so I discovered that Annabelle had done this at Drawing, and I thought, we've got to do it here in Congleton. I need a project, so I chose that project. So.
Listeners, Patti Pinto has just admitted that she needed a project. I thought she invented all the projects.
So, yes, I thought this would be nice to put in the hospital, but in fact there wasn't anywhere in the hospital grounds that was going to be suitable, so I thought it's got to be the park. And there was this lovely depression in the park that's between the bowling green and the children's playground. And so I thought, what can I do with this pattern which she's drawn? And so I took it and I thought, okay, she wants some circular paths, and she wants a pond in the middle, but we can't do that, so we've got a bog garden instead. And she'd got a series of benches and a dry stone wall and hedges and all sorts of different plants. And so I thought, I'm going to take this and see what I can do. So I've got some space here, so I ended up, we've got an 18-metre garden here. And so middle of April last year, having got £5,000+ in funding, we started making the paths, and then after that we had up to 150 people who came over the following 2 months to build the garden. And so we went from completely bare borders, and so we bought plants, we had plants grown, we threw seeds down, we planted a perimeter hedge. Every plant in here is suitable for bees. And there are over 100 species. We had lots of school children down here throwing wildflower seeds around, and all sorts of things came up. I had a nursery who came, and they'd got tiny little sunflower seeds in pots. We planted those, and they were fantastic last year. They were really big. So the kids were able to come back and see all the things they've seen, and everybody who came, once we got the benches in, it was even better. And so it's just great, because even today it's really overcast, it's been wet. We're doing a bee trail, so I've hidden 10 bees in the garden, and they've got to go around and find them, and there's letters on the back, and it spells well-being but it's being, not being. But they're all doing it and they're having a fun time.
The opportunities for puns here are enormous, aren't they? I mean, as we stand here, I'm looking at a sign which is a blue heart, which is right in the middle of the grounds, and it says, "Bees welcome here." Then we have a green information board that says, "Be aware." And then, of course, Patti herself has got the now famous Congleton in Bloom logo, which she's proudly wearing on her Be Attractive t-shirt.
I have a special bee t-shirt as well. When we had a special opening, 3 months after we started, we managed to open it, and we had over 100 kids here, and loads of people, sponsors and all the people who'd been to help. And it was fantastic. We just had such... And Annabelle and her parents and her sister were here. And they planted the first tree, and it's over there. You can see it. The Jubilee cherry tree. That's what they planted, the first tree, when we started doing the garden. And Annabelle's been down, and she arranged the stones in the middle of the bog garden. And she had some of her friends from school, and they were planting in the various borders. So she's been very heavily involved, and she's thrilled to bits. And they're so pleased that they didn't win, because she's got her own garden here. She can come anytime she wants. If it was in Doncaster, it's a bit far to go from here, really.
Which really goes to show you that age isn't the limit on making a difference, that young people have been involved in the big garden here to actually make it a reality. I'm going to be careful here because Patti could kick me, but less young people with lots of energy are still doing an awful lot as a team to maintain the garden, and they've got other plans for it. Everybody can make a difference. All they've got to be prepared to do is volunteer.
Absolutely.
So, having talked with Patti, come and see how some of the people that are in the park today are enjoying the beer garden, are enjoying the bee garden. It's not the beer garden. And I've got Lucy and young Toby here. Lucy, How do you find the bee? I can't say it, folks. How do you find the bee garden?
I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's so pretty and just really relaxing.
So did you come here specifically to enjoy the bee garden today, or you've just come to join in the celebrations?
Joining the celebrations, but when we come, we do normally come and have a sit round here.
So that's one of the benefits, as you see, of having something like this within our beautiful park. Wonderful, thank you.
No worries. What are you doing?
So just as I was talking then with somebody about the bee garden, I noticed two people who are almost dressed as bees. So I'm here with Amber and I'm here with
Sebastian.
Sebastian, let me guess, he's probably about 11.
8.
They are doing a fantastic job as volunteers. Now I gather it's the first time you've been doing it. Tell people what you're doing and why you do it.
So we're litter picking with Seb's club group, Mossley Firs
Yeah.
club group. We're new to Congleton and we've only been in Congleton about 18 months, so we wanted to do something for the community,
Yeah.
didn't we? So we
Yeah.
joined the local clubs group
Yeah.
and they asked us to volunteer to litter pick.
Yeah. And we decided to do it.
Yeah.
Cubs is a great organisation which itself makes a difference. You're doing a great job here today with this collection, but what else does Cubs do that makes a difference either to you or to help people in the community?
I'm not sure because this is this is the first one we're doing to help the community.
Yeah,
So
but other things they do.
yeah, I'm not really sure.
Well, it's all about being kind, isn't it? Being a
Yeah.
club. Yeah? And
Yeah.
trying your best.
Yeah.
And I think it does actually teach you to make an offer. Where did you come from to Congleton?
Staffordshire Moorlands from Cheadle
So you left a very beautiful place in itself to come here.
We did, yeah.
Now then, put you on the spot. Where would you rather be, Congleton or Staffordshire?
Congleton.
Oh,
Where my
no.
family is.
Perfect reply. Yes, I too came here to be nearer to family, is what we do. So, listen, I mustn't hold you up. Actually, there is very, very little litter today, which is in itself a sign that people appreciate what's being done in the park, isn't
Yeah.
it? But you're doing a great job and you're volunteering, and we're very grateful for that. And I've got a feeling that you will be doing quite a bit more volunteering as you move up from
Yeah.
Cubs to Scouts, and who knows then,
Yeah.
all those exciting things that you could be doing with them. Going out on adventures,
Yeah.
sleeping out at night on a freezing cold evening, but learning how to light a fire. Do you still do that?
I think they do, yeah. We're looking
Yeah.
forward to that, aren't we?
Wonderful. Anyway,
Thank you.
lovely to talk to
And
you,
you.
and we continue to enjoy the day.
Thank you.
So, I've just been speaking to Vic about the Just Bee Garden and telling you all about the designer, the young designer Annabelle, and here she is.
There's an expression, great oaks out of little acorns grow. Now I think your idea was very much as a little acorn. What made you think of it in the first place?
It was just for a science homework that because we were isolating during lockdown, and so the science teacher set it as like a thing to do because it was this competition. So I just tried it, and then
You know, there are a lot of young people who are almost too frightened to try things, aren't they? They think they'll make a mess of it. They think they won't succeed. But you're the exception that proves the rule, isn't it? That you mustn't be frightened to follow an idea that you have. So where did the idea come from?
I'm not really sure, to be
Out
honest.
of my head, she says.
It was the idea of getting a circle, wasn't
Yeah.
it? As soon as the idea of getting a circle came together,
Like all the different like flowers that like
Yeah,
bees wanted to be.
started to research all the different types of flowers that bees might like. And then, do you want to describe the pond in the middle?
This is Dad here that's providing the prompting. He's prompting stage right. He's doing a great job. But Annabelle is now going to tell us about the circle and how it all makes sense.
Yeah, so it was like different. Like you could walk through the circle and there'd be different like layers within it. To come into like the middle with like a pond, but we couldn't do the pond.
Why couldn't you do a pond here?
Health reasons.
Not the local elf and safety.
Yeah, health and safety. Yeah.
Yeah. So you couldn't have a really wet area, but you could have a bog area. I gather that bog areas are very, very important. Keeping peat wet is an important thing. Have you worked out why that's the case?
The main thing for this was obviously the bees and keeping everything moist, and it's the different colours as well. And what's amazing, what they've done is to ensure that over the year you have different plants are blooming at different times. So you've got kind of a warm area, you've got a cold area, you've got warm colours, you've got cold colours, and it's just lovely all the way through the year. So we come at spring, you've got a whole set of different colours, and even at winter it's still, there is still life going on here. And I think the main thing for you, Annabelle, was the idea that you wanted people to be able to come and sit down. And where we are at the moment is we're surrounded by people who are sitting on these chairs enjoying this beautiful garden. So it's kind of turning an idea into reality. It's just amazing, isn't it?
It's just doing it.
Yeah.
I always told my daughter when she was your age, I said, in life you'll see many doors, and don't be frightened to push any of those doors and go and have a good look inside. Then make your decision, well that didn't interest me.
Yeah.
Or this really did interest me. So you push this particular door and then suddenly your ideas became a reality through teamwork, which is a fantastic thing to do. What next? Are you going to be going in for RHS awards and going to Tatton and places like that?
I'm not really sure.
That would be amazing,
It'd be
wouldn't it?
really good, yeah.
It's what you enjoy doing, isn't it? You've got to follow what you enjoy doing, and in that way you discover what that is. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, it's wonderful that we've actually caught you, and I'm sure people will be delighted to have actually listened to the wise and creative words of Annabelle. She had a little idea. She put it down on paper. She submitted it. She didn't win, but that in itself was important because she didn't say, oh, right, I'm a failure. Her design was noticed, and then other people said, we love it. And then suddenly, here she is, enjoying the fruits of her labours. So, to you both, lovely to meet you today.
Lovely to meet you.
And thank you for what you've done, because I love it. I come down here in summer, and my wife does. She does the work at the sawmill. So if you're ever down there, make sure you say hello to her and put her right on the things that she's not doing correctly, because I'm sure you'll know. So lovely to talk to you. Do enjoy your day.
Yeah,
Thank you. Bye. I've just been walking around the beer garden, and I've found 3 people here sitting down and enjoying the beer garden. I've got to explain, Margaret. I keep calling it a beer garden.
That's because
we're drinking beer.
They are drinking the beer, so I haven't been so errant, actually, as I thought I had. Today, being a special day, it is the beer garden. One of the people that we all know makes a huge difference in Congleton is our present mayor, Margaret. She will not be given any other official title. She doesn't like it. She is Margaret Gartside, and she's looking fresh from elections too. It's been an eventful time, but we're not going to talk about that today. Margaret, making a difference, the difference that the bee garden has made to Congleton, the way in which people appreciate what has been created. I've just been talking to Annabelle, so I found out all about the inspiration. But how do you view it? What's the difference it makes to Congleton?
Well, I think people like it as a quiet place to come and sit, if nothing else. And then once they're here, if the weather is reasonably warm, then we do get a lot of bees and butterflies coming to our various plants that they can see. And I hope it makes them appreciate the diversity that one can have and the importance of the bees and the insects within our environment.
Yes, I've just been talking with the Rotary about that and the campaign that they are getting off the ground now, their pledge, which is brilliant. It's easy to forget, isn't it, that without our pollinators, we are up the Swanee.
Yes. We're absolutely dependent on the insects and the bees, you're right. But I think the good thing about their pledge is the things that they're suggesting, and I think there's 7 of them. None of them are major things, but if we all did them, it would make an enormous difference. People say, oh, well, little old me, but it's not little old me, it's little old you along with everybody else.
With the rest of the team, isn't
yes.
it? And of course, these days, it's no good just saying, oh, well, that's the responsibility of the town council or the government. With endless amounts of money, great things could be achieved, but that just isn't the case today, is it? No. We do need people who are prepared to give up part of their time for whatever reason. They do it for fun, they do it because they want to give it back to the community.
Yeah. Well, and to change some of their habits, and I think people need to understand that all of us need to do this, and it isn't that difficult if you want to. It's the will to make the changes that it's all about. And then relatively little things.
So when we're saying changing habits there's two sides to that one. There is the change in the habit of being prepared to volunteer, being prepared to give up a little bit of your time for whatever reason to come and help.
Agreed.
But there's also doing certain things which don't help, of which dropping litter is one of those. I've just talked to a couple of volunteers that are doing a great job in the park here, although everybody is being incredibly responsible. But people can do an awful lot just by stopping and thinking. And fly tipping, that's become a bit of an issue, hasn't it?
Well, and also the number of things we see beside the road where people just appear to have thrown things out the window of their car without really thinking about the consequences of what they've done. And most of the things that they throw out can be recycled, especially the cans and things like that. But even the paper these days, we can recycle that paper and reuse it. And this is what we all have to get into the habit of doing and thinking about our actions before we do it. And as for volunteering, I was always given to understand, even as a child, that I benefited from other people volunteering, and it was my duty almost to pay back by volunteering myself. And this is what I've always tried to do.
You started volunteering and you end up as mayor.
Yes. I must admit, pleasantly surprised when I was asked to be mayor, because I'd never gone out looking to be mayor, and then various councillors came up to me and said, "We think you ought to be mayor," and I said, "Oh." And when I realised that the whole of the town council wanted me to be mayor, I was honoured, but it has been an enormous privilege being mayor, and hopefully I have made a difference and have tried to uphold the values that I believe in of volunteering and helping other people and doing my best to make Congleton a good place to live.
If anybody has been inspired by that, that was a wonderful call to action for other people, it really was. Here is Margaret, young looking, full of energy, and is making a huge difference. When do you actually get to pick your feet up?
I finish on the 25th of May when the new mayor making happens, and so then I can have a rest and hopefully go away on a holiday.
But it's been an enjoyable year, if somewhat tiring.
Year. It has given me an opportunity to go out and talk to people in Congleton and see all the marvellous things that are going on in our town. And really, if you scratch the surface, people who say there's nothing going on in Congleton, they haven't looked.
It's not
There's
true.
a lot going on in Congleton, and if there isn't what you're particularly interested in, then I'm sure if you start that organisation on club, you will find other people will come along and join you.
There you go, that's the call to action. Margaret, thank you for everything you've done in this last year, and I'm sure will continue to do, mayor or not. Thank you. So, as I've been walking around the park here, most of the people I've been talking to are volunteers, and then I noticed a big red truck with blue lights on it, and I thought, these guys do a tremendous job in our community, and we really do appreciate it when the fire service turns up when we've got a big problem. But in conversation, I've talked with one of the younger people that gets involved in the fire service. He's a cadet, and this is really interesting because this is an opportunity for young people to learn and to learn something about the fire service, how it works, but also to pick up on a lot of the skills which they will have later in life and which they may need to use if they ever did decide to join the fire service. So, Andy, were you ever a cadet?
My name's Andy Burgess. I'm a crew manager at Congleton Fire Station on West Road. I've been a firefighter for 20 years and now I'm a crew manager. The cadets is a great way of starting a career in the fire service from the age of 13 up to the age of 18. They do everything that a normal the whole-time firefighter does on a smaller scale. So they get issued with a full uniform and they have all the PPE, and we teach them the basic life skills, how to cut cars up, RTCs, which we attend a lot of. We teach them to climb ladders, we teach them to use hoses and how to put fires out. We teach them a lot of skills and it puts them in good stead to become a whole-time firefighter. For instance, my daughter, she's a firefighter at Macclesfield. She came through as a cadet. All right, I encouraged her to do it. Then she became a cadet leader and she's been a full-time firefighter for 10 years, 13 years actually.
So what difference did you notice in her from when she was at school, if you like, to the point that she started to get what I call real life work experience and presumably developed a lot of confidence and began to realise what her own skills and abilities were?
Yeah, I saw a big difference from her being a school child at the age of 12, 13. She actually started to learn a bit of discipline. She was coming along to the cadets at the time, and she certainly developed into this young lady, doing all the skills and everything. She's now a crew manager at Macclesfield. So she does everything I do now, drive fire engines, be in charge of incidents, and it all started from a 13-year-old.
This to me is something that I believe in very, very strongly, that young people very easily can miss out on opportunities in life because they're almost frightened of failing. And yet, if they're brave enough to express an interest, immediately, as you said, they start to learn new skills. That gives them new confidence. And as we said earlier, it doesn't matter whether they decide to go into the fire service or whether they go into something completely different. They're going to become ready for the world of work.
Yeah, well, I can assure you there's no need to fear of failure because the cadets are taught by whole-time firefighters, and it's more about encouraging them to do the skills and everything, and give them that bit of confidence to get out there and try new skills all the time. Like I said, she moved from a schoolgirl at 18, became a part-time firefighter, a cadet leader, and now she's a whole-time firefighter. So it does stand you in good stead to get a good career.
And as you said, it's also about teamwork, isn't it? Because when you actually go in there and you deal with a fire, not only is your life on the line, but the life of all your mates are, and you're working as a team, seamless machine that tackles the most difficult situations.
Exactly. Working in the fire service, it's not all about individuals, it's about teamwork. At Congleton there's 4 firefighters on a fire engine, and obviously we train together, we work together, and we work as a team at every incident we go to.
Yeah, teamwork is everything. People need to get those skills. They used to have to go into the army. They don't have to do that anymore. That's right,
you used to do national service before my time.
Some people would have said, yeah, national service is the way you'll get your discipline and you'll learn to work as a team. But no, you don't have to do national service anymore. That may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing, but there are opportunities in the fire service. If somebody wants to follow this up, what's the best way for them to actually do it?
Any young kiddie who wants to become a cadet, like I say, it's from the age of 13. If they contact their local fire station, obviously us at Congleton on West Road, or if they live near Sandbach or Holmes Chapel, they just need to make contact, go and knock on the door.
Go and say hello.
Yeah, go and say hello, introduce yourselves, tell them you're interested in becoming a cadet, and we will give you all the information you need to take it on.
And do they have to do the 100-yard carry of a guy that weighs 18 stone with breathing kit on their back?
No, not as a cadet. When you actually become a whole-time firefighter, that's when you have to pass all the tests to get in.
But what an achievement that must be in itself.
Yeah, but by doing the cadets, we build them up to doing that sort of thing. Yeah. So it's a good opportunity to join the fire service at the age of 13 and work towards a good career.
So there we go. This was young Andy Burgess you've been listening to, looking every inch as fit as a fireman needs to be, and proving that actually he has got a great skill in promoting the fire cadets. And if you're listening, you fancy something that will build you up and which offers adventure and opportunity, do go along to the local station, give them a knock on the door and say, hey, is Andy in? Do tell me a little bit more about it, and if Andy's not there, one of the other guys will be very, very happy to tell you all about it, and then you make the choice and hopefully go along and start the training.
That's right, that's correct.
Andy, thank you so much. You've done that really well. You needn't have worried.
Thank you very much.
You're a natural. So we've got a moment of quiet now as the band is, I think, about to have a break, but I've managed to meet up with 3 very hard-working ladies who really do make a big difference when it comes to the events which take place in Congleton. I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you. You probably know them by name, but who have we got here?
So I'm Jackie MacArthur. I'm Deputy Chief Officer at the Town Council, and this is part of my wonderful team.
So you might say the backroom lady that makes it happen.
I've never been called that before, a backroom lady.
Listeners, this is a Congleton radio first. We'll think of a name for Jackie in due course. Then we've got Rachel.
Hi, I'm Rachel McCarthy, Congleton Town Central Events Officer. And we've helped all put together this fabulous event today in the team within Congleton Town Council.
So you're very much at the front of the whole thing. Wow, what an event it's been, despite the weather, which was kind of transpiring against you a bit.
Yeah, very much so. I'm actually really pleased with the turnout. It's a free event for the whole community. It's been a lovely get together. The rain's managed to hold off most of the day and it's been fantastic.
And I've also got with me
Debbie Coxton, Communications and Marketing Officer.
Talk about the day, how's it gone?
Yeah, well, really pleased as communications. All the posts we put out on the social media, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, it's great to see Congleton residents turning out to support this event and coming together as a community.
But I think I'll turn around and say, as a Congleton resident, and having come to Congleton recently, it's so good that we've got a team like you three ladies working as hard as you do. Because you don't always get credit for the work, do you? I mean, people like to complain, but more credit, please, for these wonderful ladies.
I think part of it is we see this as our job. This is what we do for Congleton anyway. So there has been a lot of events, and if you look at our events calendar through the year, most months there's something significant happening in Congleton. And it does take a lot of effort, and as much effort has to go into it, whether, like today the weather's not so great, but we've still got quite a few hundred turnout. This time last year when we had the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, there wasn't any grass to be seen in the field. There was 5,000 come out. So learning from that, this time we've planned bigger, and had we had Sunday's weather, we probably would have been looking at 5,000 again. But as it is, Congleton still turned out in force. We've had a fantastic afternoon, and really proud of our town, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, very proud.
Apparently coronations don't have a very good track record when it comes to good weather, do they? But that's not down to your bad planning at all, that's just the way in which it is. So what have we got coming up in Congleton? We've had this tremendous celebration of 500 years. What's next?
So we've got a few big things coming up in May. So first we've got our annual town meeting, that's on the 18th of May. And the week after that we have the mayor making. Mm-hmm. Then we've got a massive food and drink festival. We need table ties for the toilets.
This just goes to prove to you, doesn't it? There is a certain amount of glamour in this job, but you also have to do some really exciting jobs like cable ties for the toilet. Cable ties for the toilet? Oh, for the bags in the... No, I'm not even going to guess. Where were we?
Well, we will find out about the cable ties very soon. So we were saying then in June is the major food and drink festival, which is always massive, and thousands turn up for that. That's organised by Congleton Community Projects. But again, as a team, we support anything and everything that's going on in Congleton. July is Pride, and then August is the massive Jazz and Blues Festival. September's the Green Festival. October's the beer and gin festival, yeah. And then we're round to Remembrance and Christmas lights, and before we know it, we're into a new year.
I'm getting more excited with every moment. That I should have moved to Congleton was just so fortunate for me.
And having 10 new councillors 12 new councillors and 10 returning councillors.
And as you were mentioning, you've got a change of mayor coming up shortly. Margaret's had a wonderful year. She was telling me about that earlier. Next mayor and another year.
Yeah, a new mayor. And Debbie, as well as doing all the social media, also takes care of the mayor's diary and all the mayor's events. So whoever the new mayor will be is already getting lots of things in their diary. And in fact, next week, I think, Debbie, you're interviewing, aren't you, for Mayor's Cadet?
Town Mayor's Cadet. So we've got good response from the town's uniformed group. So it's great to see young people wanting to put themselves forward for the role, and they can get to attend exciting events such as this and support the mayor throughout the year.
That's really interesting, because I've just been talking to the fire service about their cadet service and how important that is for young people. But Mayor Cadet, I didn't know anything about the Mayor Cadet, so how does that come about?
Well, there's a long-standing history in the tradition of mayors that the mayors had a cadet. It probably goes way back. So obviously we go out to the uniform groups, and the officers of the group would nominate their strongest candidate for the position. We've had a great response this year, so we've had multiple applications. So we're going out to interview and find the best one for the job.
I've got to say, for those that are listening, that the bee garden in the park is having a great success, because we're obviously standing very, very near to a winter nest for the bees, because all three young ladies here are being settled on by bees all of a sudden. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably the colour of their jackets. So I'm not going to hold you up, because I know you're very busy, but you've just thought of something important.
No, as I say, just going back to the young people, it's great here today to see the team of rangers helping out in the craft tent. It's the second event they've supported this year, and we've got the scouts, I think, is it Rachel, out litter picking in the field. So it's just great that we can link into the community, because without the volunteers we couldn't put events on such as this. So it's everybody coming together.
I couldn't agree with you more. There are a lot of people who just look to the town council and they say, oh, it's your job, but it's not. It's the whole community's job to work together with them to make things work, whatever the event is. So if there are people out there that want to make that difference, then just pop into the town hall and have a word with somebody there and say, I've got a few hours I can spare you in a week, I don't know what I can do, can I help? And they will love to see you. You'll probably get a free hug, which would be great. But yeah, do it. Don't hesitate, because without you and without these wonderful ladies here, these events can't take place. It's not just about money, it's about people that join together, it's about teamwork. Thank you very much, ladies. I'm sure you've got work to do, so lovely to talk to you all.
That's great, thanks
very much.